Hello and welcome back to Discovering Durham University with At the Durham Student. In today's episode, Opportunities Galore at Durham, we're going to dive into the vast array of opportunities available at Durham University, including part-time work, volunteering roles, and leadership and development opportunities. We hope you enjoy. Hi guys, welcome back to our podcast. Today I'm joined by two guests and today we'll be talking about all the opportunities available at Durham. So I'm going to pass it over to Viv, who will introduce herself.
Hi, I'm Viv. I'm a fourth year at South College and I do law.
And I'm going to pass over to Ghala.
Hi, I'm Ghala. I'm a second year at Cuths and I do archaeology.
Perfect. Okay, guys, can you guys give me a quick rundown, like an overview of all the opportunities at Durham that you're personally aware of?
Personally, I am involved in, I was involved in the college JCR. I was senior welfare of South. And I also have a part-time job at the SU. I work in the cafe and the bar with Crystal. I've also worked still working as a photographer for club nights and certain events. And I also have done some volunteering and some fashion shows here and there. I've been welfare, photographer, all sorts of fashion shows and a model. What else?
That's a lot.
That is a lot. I've done a lot.
Absolutely.
And I've also been EDI for the law school and also been in publicity for certain societies and done the 93 Club.
Perfect. And then we will go through each of those opportunities in turn. But Ghala, if you want to let me know what opportunities you're involved in and what you're aware of.
So I'm involved in a couple of volunteering roles around Durham. So I'm a project manager for the Auckland project and an events and fundraising officer for DOSFA, which is Durham University Student Volunteering and Outreach. Also the volunteering rep in my college JCR, and I also work part-time as a TSR rep and also an open day ambassador.
And just a quick rundown of me. So I work for the Durham Student with Ghala. I do more the content creation side, including this podcast. I work in the SU Cafe with Viv, as she mentioned, and I also do EDI work for careers and entrepreneurs, and I have a ton of other experience in terms of like JCR, execs on societies and clubs, and we will go into them turn by turn. So first off, let's discuss our thing in common, all of us. So let's discuss our part-time work. So Viv, you said you work in the SU with me, and I'll let you explain what we do in the SU Cafe.
Well, the SU Cafe is a great job because it's so flexible, and I think we can all agree that the great thing about working for the university is the flexibility of it, not being, made to work during the holidays and having flexible hours that don't kind of contradict your studies is really good. In the cafe, we basically serve coffee, cake, panini, sandwiches. Crystal, what's the difference between a latte and a cappuccino?
I've worked in the SU Cafe for like 2 years and I still don't know, but don't tell my manager.
And we also do bar work, and the SU also does events as well, so yeah.
Yeah. And what about you, Ghala? What about your student room rep role?
So I'm mainly just kind of monitoring and like looking at, what is being discussed on the student room and kind of answering questions from students. It's very, very like relaxed and easy and just kind of funny at times, like the questions that we get asked. But it's very, very flexible.
Yeah.
And I also do open days.
Oh, yeah.
But it's kind of really, it's 3 times a year, so it's also very flexible.
Yeah, as Viv mentioned, working with the university is so flexible because they want you to prioritise your academic. I think the university advised that you not work more than 12 hours a week, and I think that's very, it's manageable. Some weeks, if I have more exams or if I have more assessments, I'll let my managers know, and I've got that flexibility to prioritise my academics. So that's really nice and lovely. How do your part-time jobs enhance your university experience?
Well, it kind of gave me the opportunity to meet a lot of different people because I'm working with, I guess, 2 different groups of people. So people on the student room and open day ambassadors. So I've met a lot more people than I usually would because I'm very not social. But it's kind of given me that, and I think confidence as well because
Absolutely, yeah.
I have experience, and I've interacted with people. I've done things I never would really thought I would do. So it's given me a lot of like confidence and just kind of self-assurance.
And what about you, Viv?
I think it's kind of helped me hone my leadership skills, like being in charge of a team or kind of organising big events like Crystal did for our JCR. It kind of gives you those skills and those key kind of career skills that you can then interpret into your working life once you graduate.
Yeah, absolutely. They always say like when you graduate, you like employees want you to have 10 years worth of experience, and you're like, I've just got a degree. But no, like part-time work is valuable, regardless if it's like directly, related to your career like trajectory, because you pick up these soft skills, you pick up the hard skills. So yeah, no, like even if your part-time work isn't necessarily directly correlated with what you want to do, there is so much value in doing part-time work, in my opinion. But yeah, let's look at the other side of the opportunity. So volunteering and community engagement. I want to direct this towards Ghala. So what volunteering opportunities are available and how do they impact both students and the community?
So there's a lot. So the central kind of organisation in charge of volunteering at Durham University is Durham University Student Volunteering and Outreach. It's quite a mouthful, so we kind of say DUSVO for short. It was established in 1989, so it's kind of it's been a long time running. It's kind of separated into branches of different volunteering like projects, I guess. So you have like education, cultural, environment, and social inclusion, and within those different branches, you've got a list of projects. So for example, for cultural, you've got Durham for Refugees Kids Club, and they kind of run sessions with refugee kids, I think, during the weekends. So they plan like activities and, games and, things to kind of get the kids involved and just make their time in Durham a lot easier. And for other projects, you've got the Environmental Club, or the Environment Club. And they kind of go to schools and they have, workshops with kids about, the environment, sustainability. So you've got like a wide variety of other projects as well. You've got DUSVO Bakes, which they kind of provide bakes for the local community and also bake sales within the university. So if you're running a bake sale, the best people to go to is DUSVO Bakes because they can just kind of provide that for you. And it's, there's definitely a lot to get involved with.
Yeah, no, the amount of time I go to work at the SU and there's always like a bake sale outside, I'm like, I have to give myself a sweet treat. No, absolutely, I absolutely love that. What volunteering opportunities are you personally involved in?
So I do archaeology, so I'm definitely more interested in that kind of cultural aspect of volunteering. So I do volunteering at the Auckland Project. I'm also the project manager for the Auckland Project. And we basically just work in or volunteer in the heritage spaces within the Auckland Project. So we've got Auckland Castle, we've got the Spanish Gallery, the Mining Art Gallery, and we've also got the New Faith Museum. So we just kind of essentially stand around and, support visitors whenever they're in, kind of provide historical and archaeological information about the site, answer any questions, that kind of thing.
That's so fun. That's such a good experience, like to especially put down on your CV as well, especially if you want to, have a career like within archaeology. That's so cool. I remember in first year when I was like looking at societies and stuff, there was so many volunteering like societies. There was like the blood bank, like a lot of what we do at the university society wise, we all fundraise for things. So like fashion shows, for instance, like that's all, a charity based fundraising event, which is really fun. But yeah, I know, Viv, you mentioned that you have been involved in a few fashion shows and have also been involved in your JCR. So I'm going to move over to leadership roles and development. So how can students, and this is a question for both of you, how can students get involved in leadership roles such as in JCR's clubs and societies, and what skills can you gain from this experience?
In terms of how to get involved, it's really always advertised on social media. You'll hear about it in your college emails for JCR. Like, I heard about these fashion shows through social media, through friends, through just emails. Like, they will blow it up in your face.
Yeah.
And I would just say, there's no harm in applying. Like, like it was quite hard for me to apply as a model. I can't lie, because I don't have that confidence. But just apply. You don't know what will happen. It was a great experience, and I definitely really did make loads of new friends, tried loads of new things. I learned how to like Vogue for the first time. But yeah. And in terms of, sorry, what was the second question for that?
It was, what skills have you gained from the experiences? But I think you've already touched upon that. Yeah, no, as Viv mentioned, most of these roles are advertised on social media. Like, I don't know about you guys, but I didn't realize Facebook was a thing. Like, I knew it was a thing growing up, and then I just didn't touch it for ages. And then I got to university, and I was like, oh, if I want to know anything, I have to have Facebook. So
very much.
Yeah, I reactivated my Facebook account. So yeah, Facebook and Instagram is where I think I find the majority of my opportunities. Just shared, because every single club and society, or even a college, will have their own like Facebook page, group, Instagram pages. So yeah, and what about you, Ghala? I know you've said you're like recently involved in the college leadership roles now. So you want to elaborate on that?
I kind of last year I saw like the committee applications, but I was kind of late to it, so I thought to myself, I'll do it next year. It was mostly through Instagram, I'm not gonna lie. So social media, essentially, that's kind of where most of the leadership roles kind of get advertised. You can, in like the freshers fairs and the volunteering fair, you can approach obviously the different.
Go to your freshers fair.
Yeah,
By that to like go to them. There's so much to see and do. But and so many freebies.
Yeah, that's like the best part.
But yeah, sorry, carry on.
So you can kind of go to those fairs and ask around, and just if you know the current exec are there, which usually they are, you can ask them about the different roles that you might want to get involved with. You know, if you can't the same year, maybe next year. So that's kind of how you can kind of get involved with leadership roles. You can also get involved with like leadership roles within your department as well. I think a lot of people forget about that. But the department has like the SSCC, which I don't remember what it stands for, but meetings, and basically they kind of recruit course reps to be involved in those meetings. So you kind of represent your course level as well, so level 1 and your specific course. And they usually advertise that in like the beginning of the year, but you can just like email them and ask if you know they're still looking for someone to kind of fill that position.
And with like with these departmental roles and also these like JCR roles, it's a thing where you put a poster forward. You might go to an AGM, do a little speech, and you're voted in by the student community. So if you're a student rep for your course, you're going to be voted in by, you know, your peers on your course, or if you're going for a certain JCR role. So I've been events officer and I've been ball chair, which meant that I just had to do a little poster, a little speech, get voted in. But it's not as scary as it sounds. It's actually quite fun and really nice and chill. And I think the really special thing about Durham as well, as a collegiate university, you've got opportunities within your college, within your JCR, within your department. And because we have 17 colleges, you know, there's just such a breadth of like actual opportunities. And you can get involved in the student union as well. I know a few people that have sat on the equivalent of, you know, the student council. So yeah, there is really, really so many opportunities at Durham in terms of leadership roles. Okay. So moving on from leadership roles and development, I want to quickly take a moment to talk about the global opportunities at Durham. So of course you've got your year boards and you've also got things like placement years. But if your course offers a year abroad or placement year, I definitely say look into it. I've not done one and I kind of regret not doing one. All my friends that have done year abroads or placement years, they've gained so much experience that's like invaluable in terms of it will help them with their future career. Everyone I know that's come back from a placement year has secured a grad job. Like it's so like valuable for them. But no, if I had to pick, I personally would have like done a year abroad. But it's kind of like it's such a special moment in your life where you can just take a year out and you know go study in another country or go work in another country. And I think it's very rare to have those opportunities as you settle into your career and stuff, or you know gain adult responsibilities. I say as a 22-year-old. But yeah, no, last summer actually I had the opportunity to go to Vietnam. So Durham sent me out on an internship in Vietnam. I didn't have to pay for my flights or my accommodation. That was all through the Turing grant scheme. So yeah, I had like 3 months in Vietnam. got to explore a bit of Asia, and I got to gain some work experience. So I worked as a scientific communication intern out in Vietnam, and it was quite a special time for me as well, because especially being Vietnamese as well, it was a really big coincidence that the internship was in Vietnam. So I was really, really grateful for that experience, and I'm just so grateful that I did it, and I'm so grateful for the opportunity that Durham provided. But I know there's also like opportunities to go to New York or go to Fiji, or I think there's a few in Germany as well. There's Canada. My friend recently just came back from an internship placement in Canada over the summer, and honestly, my biggest advice is when you come, just search up global opportunities in Durham, because there's so many.
So many.
Yeah.
And they're mostly open to first and second years, so there's definitely a lot of opportunities to apply if you don't get it the first time round, because it is really competitive. But if you don't get the first time round, try again the following year. Like Viv said, there's no harm in applying to these opportunities, and you're just getting so much. So yeah, and also applying for things like leadership roles or internships or these opportunities, it helps you with grad scheme applications, and it helps you with job applications after university, because you've learned how to do them. Because I remember like growing up, if I wanted a job, I just walk in and hand in my CV and just leave. But you don't do that anymore. There's a lot of like online assessments and stuff, and I really don't like the self-recording video assessments that you have to do. It's just I'm staring at myself and I'm like, there's just no thoughts behind my head. But
That's actually one good thing about Durham. We have like a careers hub online.
Yeah.
So there's a careers and enterprise hub, which I personally use to kind of help me hone my like CV skills. They have like CV templates. They have job interview skills. They have loads of psychometrics, like sample tests. For law, we have a Watson-Glaser test. So there's plenty of stuff to help you for that. I know each department has its own kind of careers and grad scheme kind of help. So yeah, definitely just check online, check on the SU website, check on the Careers and Enterprise Hub as well.
Yeah, no, I work for Careers and Enterprise, so definitely like we're currently located in the Palatine Centre. You can come in, you can book a session with a careers advisor, and honestly the most loveliest and helpful people ever. And I think when people think about careers advice, we think it's scary people in suits, but no, like I think every single member working in Careers and Enterprise, we're here to help you succeed throughout uni and post-university. So we also help and give advice to those that have already graduated as well. So once you're at Durham, the help that we offer you doesn't just stop once you graduate, and I think that's really nice. We talk about alumni and stuff, and I think Durham is such a special university in the fact that our alumni network is quite strong, and you see alumni come back a lot, whether it's to college formals or balls. I think once you're a Durham student, if you want to continue getting involved with university, post-university life, there's so many opportunities to do so. So yeah, and I'm going to move on to professional networking and career development. What resources and events, so we've just mentioned some from Careers and Enterprise, are available for students to network and prepare for their future careers?
So I know we were just talking about careers fairs. So during Michaelmas term, Durham tend to host different careers fairs for different departments. I know there's a specific one for law, which is really, really useful if you go to, because you can talk to, again, Durham alumni. They come back, they talk to you about their new jobs. Also, different societies have different networking events, like Durham Women in Law and Durham Women in STEM and Durham Women in Business. They do loads of networking events with different firms, like a drinks reception, and you just get to meet people and chat. And I know 93 Club do lots of networking as well. So,
And Ghala, what about you? Do you know any of these opportunities?
For archaeology, we don't really have a separate careers fair. There is placement and like jobs within the commercial archaeology unit at Durham University, but in terms of like career advice, usually would you go to the placement manager, I think, or placement director in the department. I will stress that for archaeology, I think it's really important to attend like the research seminars when they bring in guest speakers, because
there's so many research seminars. I love them.
You get to meet like different professors from different universities, and also kind of talk with other professors within your department, kind of network. I think a lot of people forget about them, but I mean, I did last year. I never attended a single one, but this year I've definitely started going to more, especially if like the research seminar is about something that I'm interested in, it's definitely worth going to and kind of like socializing with different professors. It sounds kind of scary, like, oh, socializing with professors, but I promise you it's really relaxed and just very chill.
Top tip, talk to your professors, because
Yeah.
they are there for you to talk to. Like the kind of drop-in hours they have, like just go to them if you need any help, because we're paying so much money, like utilize your resources you have.
Yeah. And it's also like, use your academic advisors. You're gonna get these references from your professors and your academic advisors. So let them get to know you, because you want to be able to get a good reference. And also when you go to research seminars and stuff, that's learning, on your own accord. And you've taken your own autonomy to go learn outside of your lecture theatres, outside of the classroom. And I think that's something that employers really do value. And also, even if the research seminar has nothing to do with your course, go to them. I've been to a few like physics ones, and I don't do physics. Physics scares me, but I do biology. But I feel like I've been to a few other seminars, been to a few economics ones, and it's just like, if you can, and the university offers you these resources, you're here not to learn about just your degree. You're here to learn about the world. You're here to learn about yourself, as cheesy as it is. So make the most of the opportunities and the resources that the university does give you. And that follows me on to my next question about personal growth and challenges. So have you had any challenges, have you faced any challenges pursuing these opportunities in terms of your work-life balance? Like, how have you managed to balance, studies alongside working part-time or volunteering?
So last year, because I wasn't really working last year, I was mainly volunteering, and it was very manageable. First year is usually very manageable, I would say, depending on the degree. If you do law, I think that might be a bit different, but at least archaeology wasn't that bad last year. This year, because I'm working and volunteering and also academic commitments, I will say it has been quite difficult. Also, especially if you do some exec work, like JCR stuff and like exec work with like societies, it does get quite stressful. But the good thing about the working for Durham University, I would say, is the flexibility. Some weeks I've just had absolutely no time to really do any work, and my manager's been very, very understanding about that. Even with volunteering and exec roles, I will say you do get a lot of support, and if there's a time where you can't really do anything that week, they will be very understanding about that. So it's just kind of, I would say, prioritizing what is important at that moment. So if you've got a summative due in 2 days and you have to plan a social, I would probably say maybe hold off on the social, because it will be fine if you postpone it to another day. So that was kind of my experience with
and it's nice working within a team as well, because if you don't have time that week, someone else will offer and step up and pick up that for you. And I think that was one of my favorite things about working within my JCR. But what about you, Viv? Any challenges?
Kind of what you said, you have a team to help you out. You have a team to take on responsibilities when you're struggling. I'd say always communicate it, always kind of be aware, always focus on your academics, guys, always. But that's one thing I struggled with personally, is the JCR it's not like a 9-to-5 job. You're not conscripted any hours, so I tended to work into the night doing some social media campaigns and posts. But it's important to just kind of realize, yes, it's kind of not a paid opportunity, but it is a job. You shouldn't be working past 5 on JCR stuff. And it's really kind of time management skills that I've developed. I kind of had imposter syndrome. That was a personal thing coming into this uni, being from state school, but kind of being involved in so many opportunities has kind of given me the confidence, and also the connections, the networking connections I've gained just from being on execs, just from work as well. It's immeasurable. So definitely try.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think anyone that knows me, everyone's like, how do you manage all of that? Everyone's like to me, you've got so much on your plate.
You do too much.
I currently work 3-time jobs. I've, been on an exec. I think every single year that I've been here, I've had a leadership role. And I do it because I love this university and I love my student experience. But my biggest advice is you know, yes, you take on these roles and they're voluntary roles, but also you're also taking on responsibility. So you can't just step into a role and that's it. You know, you can just have that on your CV. You have to do these things, but also, you know, be strong on your boundaries. Be strong on what support you need, because you don't have to do it all by yourself. And I think when you go to university, everyone's like, oh, say yes to everything. And that's true. Like, take up all the opportunities you want to and you can, but also know you're here for 3-4 years. You don't have to do it all in one go. So yeah, like, don't take on too much. Take on as much as you can handle and as much as you want. And also, there is no shame in stepping back from things as well. If things are too much, it's fine. It's understandable. We're all students, you know. When you volunteer and you work in these roles, people are very understandable with the fact that things can get too much. So make sure to have that support system around you. But yeah, so when you go to university, just know your boundaries in terms of be strong with them. Learn how to communicate. People aren't mind readers. I used to be like really frustrated when I'd have so much on my plate, but I wouldn't have like communicated that with those around me. So I've now learned how to communicate that, learned how to prioritize things, and you know, it's a day at a time. I don't need to do everything in one go, and that's absolutely fine. But those were my personal challenges, but I wouldn't have done it differently. I'm so grateful for every single opportunity I have taken, and yeah, I'm excited to go into the world of work and take on all the opportunities I can then as well. But yeah, so that leads us to our last question. Advice for maximising opportunities. What advice would you give to new students to help them make the most of the opportunities at Durham?
Get involved. Don't be scared of applying for things, like we've said. There's no pressure for you to get stuck into like certain roles, for example JCR. But if you want to, it's always there. There's no harm in applying. Just do it.
Yeah. What about you, Ghala?
I'll say probably attend, you know, the Freshers Fair. That is really important. I mean, even if you don't do the Freshers Week, like the stereotypical Freshers Week, attend the Freshers Fair. It is really, really important. And attend all of the other fairs, because we have like the main Freshers Fair and like the start of Freshers Week, but we also have other fairs. We've got the careers, I think it's the part-time jobs, volunteering and placement fair. And then there's also a volunteering fair in second term as well. And I think as well, if there's something you want to do within your department, I will say go for it. They do have opportunities within the department. Usually it's just not very well advertised. So if there's something that you may have seen or heard and you want to get involved with, I would say email your department. If you're staying like in Durham over Christmas and you've got nothing to do, email the department, you know, asking.
No harm in asking. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So don't be afraid to start your own thing.
I was going to say that.
My best friend Anya, shout out Anya, started and founded the Crochet Society in Durham. If there's a society that you really want to do, just apply for it. Like you just you send in a form, you try and get it ratified. For example, I'm president of Burmese Society, so I wasn't the founder, but I kind of joined the founding committee, and we expanded it to the East Asian Society, and it's amazing.
I was going to say that when I joined university, I was in South, and obviously South was new. My year was the first cohort to be there, and there wasn't a netball society, and I was like, I want to play netball. So I founded the Netball Society, was president for 2 years, and you know, netball is now thriving. And so I don't play netball anymore. I do powerlifting, which I'll talk more about in the extracurricular episode. But so I founded netball, and it was I had so much support from my JCR president in creating that club, and it's just so lovely seeing it grow as well. So yeah, shout out to South College Netball. You guys are smashing it. But yes, if you don't see an opportunity that you want to do, create it.
People create fashion shows. There's now a gay fashion show for LGBTQ plus students in Durham, that I'm involved in this year. But,
love that.
It's amazing. There are so many things that you could possibly create, and you have the support system of the university. You've got funding from the university with your societies as well. So just use it. Just don't be afraid and use it.
Absolutely. Okay, that ends this episode. Thank you guys so much for coming on. I hope you guys found this useful. I hope you guys are excited about all the opportunities at Durham, and I will see you at the next one. Bye.
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 And that's a wrap. Thank you so much for watching. We hope you enjoyed this episode. If you have any further questions or comments, please don't hesitate to reach out to us on our social media channels at The Durham Student. See you at the next one.